Hey everyone.
Good evening.
Hey Floyd.
Yeah, doing good.
Nice. How's the Condors treating you? Iron Condors?
Oh man, I tell you, it's almost too good to be real. In the last 3.5 months, I've grown my account between 25 and 30%, and I've had no losing trades now in about 22 days.
Ow.
The very low deltas gives you a whole lot of room. S&P can move up and down. Yes,
Hey Floyd.
Haley,
Now we can.
I cannot hear you. Why can I not hear you?
Floyd, are you trading every single day too, or you're skipping any days?
every day unless I'm traveling. I have to go to Kodiak tomorrow for a construction job, so I won't trade tomorrow. Typically, I'm doing 4 to 6 Iron Condors, and I don't put them all at the same time. I spread them out over the trading time. 2 days ago, I had a 12-minute trade. I opened it 12 minutes before the market closed, and it made $500.
Where's in Kodiak? Is the island?
That's not to say a person can't have losses, but it's pretty incredible. My son was up here from Virginia. My older son works for IBM, and he started trading them. He paper traded for 3 days, and now he's had 6 totally successful days in a row, counting today.
Wow. I thought the Iron Condors would be better in a sideways market.
But see, if you pick a very wide body, like my body on the iron, my body means the distance between the two shorts. My body is usually a minimum of $100 and oftentimes as much as $140. And SPX only moves up maybe 30 or 40 up or 30 or 40 down. So I've got that very wide band. And if it stays within the band, every single position expires worthless. And so I've had literally hundreds of contracts expire worthless.
That's beautiful.
And even if you only hold it for 12 minutes, 60% of your profit is long-term capital gains. And it's impossible for you to be assigned. It's only cash settlement only. So you go look at the presentation I made back in May. I cover all those topics in that presentation.
Hey, I might try trading Iron Condors.
You can do the bull put or you can do the bear call by itself. Or if you want to combine them, then that's what's called an Iron Condor.
And
So let me tell you what the main thing is.
yes,
We're trying to have fun.
that is true. It's interesting. You have some time in the day and you want to push the boundaries a little bit.
But you can only trade them if you have access to stock charts that you can refer to at least once every 15 or 20 minutes. It's not a buy and forget strategy at all. You have to be prepared that if Trump puts out a tweet or if Iran drops a bomb on Israel or whatever happens, or it could be good news. If the thing goes vertical, up or down, then you either have to adjust or close your position to protect yourself because you have a fair amount of money at risk. And so it's covered in that presentation I made in May, but literally, I think after 2 or 3 more days, my fairly large trading account will be up 30% from where it was on April 1.
May, June, July.
So about 3.5 months. And I'm still trading TQQ and SOXL. So that strategy is alive and well too.
Wow.
So I think that's enough. That's enough for me, man. This is your show.
That's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and get started. We're at 6 o'clock, top of the hour. We have about 15 people participating. I'll read the disclaimer. This information is presented for educational and informational purposes only and should not be interpreted as investment advice or an endorsement or a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any specific securities. I am a volunteer and not paid for this presentation. Investing carries significant risk, including the possibility of substantial losses. You should conduct independent research, carefully consider your financial situation, and seek professional guidance before making any investment decisions. Neither I nor any associate individuals accept liability for any investment decisions based on this information. So let's go ahead and start off with some live stock analysis. If there's any stocks, either put it in the chat or just unmute and say a few things like Papa. I'm going to redo my share screen.
I was up 50% today.
Why is I guess I'm going to share my screen. For some reason, Zoom's not giving me the option to share.
Got it.
Where's my market search? There we go. The problems of having way too many screens. Get to look at more charts. Mike Papa. Is this used to be called Molly Corp?
I don't think so.
Mountain Pass over in Nevada?
Apparently, they're the only mining company in the U.S. that is mining rare earth elements that are needed for super magnets that are used in the high-tech industry. And I guess today the federal government announced that they're going to invest something like $400 million so they can open a second mine. And so I was watching CNBC this morning before the market opened. And I've got some MP, and I saw it go across the screen, and then it said up $17. And I said, what?
That's insane.
It's never moved that much, I don't think, ever. And then I went to Google search, and I found out that the federal government has decided to do a mega investment. So look at that giant gap up.
I'm going to zoom in.
So this was not one you can plan for. And I would not suggest that it's at a buy point right now. I just found it interesting that I've had this one for probably 2 years or so, and I had a very pleasant surprise when I saw that gap up. But someone else probably has a more interesting stock than this one to look at.
I owned the stock probably 8 years ago. Mountain Pass has been one of my rare earth mineral plays since I was younger, because it is the only place in the United States that you find those rare earths that you need for like magnets and kind of electronics. So it is a pretty cool play. I have played it before as MP too. I always have these little green ticks to see if I made money or not.
It's just amazing, though. It got all the way down to 10 in September 24. So 10 to 45, and after hours, 10 to 46 is a pretty nice
Wow.
gain. But I would have never bought it at 10. At 10, it looked like a dog.
Oh, this is.
But there's a very long double bottom there that shows a buy point at about 18 or 19.
Yeah, it's right over here. What's surprising is it turns out a stalling day for some reason, because if it's a blue bar that's less than 50%, it was a stalling day today. Even when we look at, let's say, the 15-minute chart, it's just some selling.
Maybe because it closed in the lower half.
Yeah, closing the lower half, but the whole market closed in the lower half today after some buying in the middle. Grain of salt, it's still a pretty nice macro play, I think. Any other stocks people want to look at? If not, let's look at Coinbase.
Had a really good day today, and it's up even more after hours. Here's one that was a $50 stock not all that long ago, and now it's almost a $400 stock.
Contrafund is finally owning this after forever. Doing well, sales good. It's making a ton of money. 7 shares. Makes billions. $1.5 billion last year. It's pretty good. All those little trading fees. It's going somewhere. The trading fees, I think, is around 2%. It's like the early days of the stock market.
So this is a way to play cryptocurrency without actually any crypto.
That is true, because this will follow the market.
And what's the other one? There's another one like MSRP or something that also does crypto, does it? For
Several.
It's called Microsystems, MSTR.
MicroStrategy.
Yeah, there you go. And then I think there's an MSRTX that is leveraged on the MSTR. MSRTX. There it is. Just highlight it right there. So that, I think that's a leveraged version of MSTR.
No, it's not this one. TX. RX?
No.
Oh, that can't be it.
MSTX. Okay. Yeah, I might have it wrong.
Yep.
There you go.
Thank you.
So that baby got as high as 220 and as low as 16. I don't think I would play this one.
Holy, this hurts my eyeballs.
And then a very interesting one that I discovered recently, I think it's KRU.
KORU.
And that is Korea times 3. And I think it's up 150% year to date.
Wow.
I mean, I'll tell you, KRU is up 142% year to date as of last Friday.
Crazy. I think Charlie also MSTU is 2x. Oh, wow. So MSTU is.
Oh, MSTU. Okay.
MSTX is 1.75. Holy moly. There's so many people playing MicroStrategy on ETF. That's crazy. But probably not yet.
Crypto is going to be a bigger part of companies. I found a stock. It's not a can slim stock. It announced that it was going to buy 250 million in Ethereum. It went from $4 and change to 161 in 4 days.
What?
And it's come down, but it's still up 1,000% before the shoot off. They also have Tom Lee on their board, they announced.
$1 billion in daily traded volume? Some whales can be trading this.
In 4 days, it went almost 4,000%. 4 days.
Percent change is 700%.
I think this is a strategy a lot more companies are going to, because they saw what happened in MicroStrategy. They're like, let's not have idle cash. Let's buy some Bitcoin or Ethereum. And it's working.
I feel like we've had this situation before in the last bull run where, was it like Kodak or something? Says, hey, we're now going more into crypto. And when she said crypto, it started skyrocketing up. We'll see what happens. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually add a new list. Crypto stocks. Crypto.
PTO.
Thank you. Because why? Because as we talk about it, I forget. And I want to just track it for fun. So
But there's an interesting stock they've been talking about on IBD Live, CRDO.
Alfredo?
Look at that one. And they're making money too.
I remember Credo very well. If you see my little arrows, I was like, oh, I'm the smartest guy on earth until that one day drop hit. Sales good, earnings good, annuals good. Lord Abbott is staying with the amount. Let's see, 86.
It ran from 30 to 100 in just a few weeks.
Lord. This is stuff of dreams.
I have no idea what this technology is. I don't know what that means.
Just a little chip. Protocols, chiplets, pilots, line cards. It's just a little like connector, pretty much.
Was it primarily to enhance communication?
Yep. Those connectors, because sometimes it's you're mechanical. How Tesla has improved their battery is not using a little tab, but using multiple connection points, so it can actually enhance the connection between the batteries.
Okay.
So that's like a serializer, deserializer, but based on motherboards. Let's see. Okay. That was about 15 minutes of stocks. Should be able to see my PowerPoint screen. So the agenda for today. I'm just going to skip the polls today and let's go to the major announcement for today. A bunch of IBD meters and past ID meters like Floyd, we got an announcement saying IBD is no longer continuing the IBD meetups. So we cannot use the IBD names in any of our meetups anymore. And IBD has said, as long as you just take off IBD in the name, you can continue. But here's the problem I found. I've been talking to Amy Smith during the transition of the meetup leaders, and she told us, I don't have access to the IBD meetup account. So if IBD does not make someone else the organizer, I can't really change a lot of things in the title. And they still have the ability to delete the group. So what I have done is I've created a meetup group called Leverage ETFs because that's how the group exploded. So that Google group will contain all our discussions, all our emails. I did set up some guidelines, some rules. I did some moderation on there. So hopefully if this meetup ever gets deleted, we still have a backup of the Google groups. And because Google Groups has the email on there, I can easily add a new meetup group and add everyone back in so we don't lose our connections. Meetup.com does not let me see anyone's emails. That's why every email both I've sent out has my email address. Send me your emails so that if this gets discontinued or something happens within Dow Jones that affects our meetups, we still have communication with each other. Long story short, join the group, Google Groups. I've included it on multiple slides. And I'm just going to included here. So this is Google Groups. It's called leverage ETF. I'm going to spend a little bit longer on this just so everyone can see what the Google Groups looks like, just to make sure that we all have an awareness of the Google Groups. I want to thank the people who have already joined. There's about 13 of us here. Senji, Stefan, Carbana, Gilroro. So thank you for joining. Feel free to send emails on these. I'm going to try my best to reduce spam. One little thing about Google Groups, you can always have each email to inbox immediately, or you can have a digest. Digest is just bundles. I have a lot of Google Groups, so I typically do digest because my email inbox easily gets to hundreds of emails every single day. So if you have any questions about how to join, how not to join, call me, text me, email me. I will answer in any way I can to help this transition to make sure we don't lose our connection with each other.
Why is IBD doing this?
A lot of us meetup leaders have questioned it. We've emailed Bridget, Jonathan, and other people within Dow Jones, and they have not said it. Oh, the biggest change I didn't mention is that Amy Smith is no longer with IBD. She was the person meeting and connecting and flying all over the country to spread the word of Investors Business Daily. It might be cost cutting. It might be them trying to make sure that IBD is now fully integrated to Dow Jones. They might keep Market. It used to be Market Smith and now it's Market Surge. So they're slowly changing everything as IBD has been bought. There's been no direct answer. If anyone wants, you can email IBD. I'll give you some email address for you to communicate.
Robert Murdoch is the CEO of News Corp, and I suspect that he and his lieutenants have said every element of IBD has to be a profit center and has to show that it's making money, and the meetup groups actually cost money.
I can hear you again, George, but I think it might be hard for you to meet us. Quantum says, can we create a new meetup group and can we subscribe to the new meetup? I can do that. I'm just afraid of spamming everyone with different things that are going on with Google Groups, with meetups. So I was thinking just going to Google Groups first, and I'm working with the people over at Dow Jones to hopefully make sure that the meetup still exists. There's a few groups that have already created new meetups. And yes, I'll add you.
And there's a monthly cost if you form a new meetup group.
Yep.
Someone has to pay the monthly charge, and that was part of the reason why meetups were costing IBD money and Amy Smith's salary. So I have a feeling that Robert Murdoch said, I don't like it because it doesn't make money, get rid of it, but that's only speculation on my part.
I think I looked into IBD. They probably have 50 groups, and the meetups cost about 50 to 100 depending on the subscription plan. It was costing them like 5,000 a month, including Amy Smith's salary. So it's costing them probably tens of thousands every single month, and they're just cutting every single penny they can.
The IBD paper is going away?
Not to my knowledge.
That would be the logical next step.
I think so. The paper is definitely not making them money. Yes, Gary, I do agree with you. That would just be a rounding error for 10,000 a month for Dow Jones Industrial. Alex, got your message too. I'll add you to the group. We have about 28 participants now. I want to do a little presentation, and I'll say it again because I don't want to lose our connections with each other. You guys know who I am. I invest in JDSU, investing for 20 plus years. I'm young, investing since I was a kid. I still have parts of NVIDIA. I've sold some of my games so far. I'm up quite a bit now, more than 5,000. My personal performance on my account is pretty much TQQQ, and I'm up about 43% for the past year. I've made probably my position profit is about 55, my performance about 43 because I lost about 8% here when I tried to invest earlier this year.
You've been in and out of it, right?
I've only had 2 trades this whole year. Or 3.
So how long have you had TQQ?
The longest time I've ever held TQQ is probably like 6 to 8 months.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
So Leverage Edge, the update to this is they have a 60.5% gain as of about 1 to 2 weeks ago. So June 27th, they had 60.5% gain. They pretty much bought and got stopped out. They took a profit, but they're still pretty much holding for the entire time. I'm still integrating the levered edge strategy onto my trading view, but so far it's pretty easy. I'm gonna move this. You have buy points, you have sell points, and using a weekly is a lot easier. I tried using daily and there was a lot of action, which I didn't want to do. They had 11% drawdown, outperformed by a whole by 62.6. Of course, now, sorry, it's higher than the NASDAQ by 62.6 because at that time, NASDAQ wasn't at an all-time high. So if we look at other ones, I'm going to zoom in because even I'm having a hard time seeing this. If we look at Soxol, TCSL, FangView, which is no longer FNGB anymore. They keep changing it. I don't know why. We're going to look at Sol. It's probably going to be the highest performing, which is at 56.11. Then you have TECL at 32, and pretty much going down the list. TQQ is usually at 1 for the past month, it's at 15. Year to date.
And by the way, Swing Trader put on TQQQ about 2 weeks ago or so. Their position is up, I think, 11% since they bought it.
Swing Trader actually bought it?
Swing Trader right now has maybe 20 positions, and one of them is TQQQ.
Fascinating.
And I think today they bought ARKK, which ARKK has been on a rocket ride higher in the last 30 days or so. That's Kathy Wood's fund.
Matt asked this question. I don't know the answer. Does anyone know? Is there a leveraged ETF for software like Soxol, just for software companies? I want to say
I don't know the answer.
They should Google it.
Okay. But this is pretty much the leverage edge strategy. You want to see, since for the past month, Soxol has been just killing it.
Year to date is still negative.
Year to date is negative 6.04. But hey, if you bought it according to the leverage edge strategy, you're probably up.
Oh yeah,
a pretty penny.
yeah. I put it on at about 14 or 15, and I think it's about 24 now.
14, 15, 24. So you're up about
It's
60,
like 70s, 80%.
I'm gonna switch my screens over to the just to show everyone levered edge a bit. Give me one moment. Let me see if I can share a screen. There we go. I'm gonna do a weekly chart.
Or if you look at GD, let me see, what is it? GDUX, I think, is up almost 200% year to date. You know that one?
I don't. Which one is it?
GDXU, it's the gold miners times 3. And as of last Friday, it was up 180% year to date.
180%. My brain hurts thinking about that.
And that's just year to date. That's just buy it on January 1 and hold, and you're up about 180%.
People, seems like everyone's making money in every single sector. Yep, quantum, I can add fast. This is my triple levered ETFs page. So I can always update it every single month to see where we're going and check on it. And I just like things in alphabetical order. Yeah, so pretty much leverage. So I'm probably gonna go off track in the future because I'm no longer sponsored by IBD. We can have more topics and talk about different strategies that people use, all related to swing trading still. Because swing trading is my specialty. Someone did literally today ask me, hey, how are you a day trading? I'm like, I've tried it. I can't do it. It's like, I do 1 minute charts. I'm like, I can't do 1 minute. I can do 5-minute charts on earnings, but 1 minute charts is just like I lose my brain. I don't want to stare at a screen manually doing it. I'll just program a computer to do it for me. So this is pretty much the chart I usually look at. It's average true range lever edge strategy. Let's do TQQQ. You can kind of see if you do the daily, it's a lot of fluctuations of buy, sell, rebuy, sell it, and there's rebuy here, and now you're selling it again. But this is on the weekly, sorry. So pretty much you just have a rebuy and just held it until now. And now we go move on to my presentation. So you guys remember a few weeks ago, I shared a little bit about IPOs. One thing I wanted to mention was that I want to analyze some charts. So that's what I'm going to do today. We're going into a little deeper dive into IPO charts. Then we're going to go over to George, and he's going to talk about a upcoming IPO called Figma. So any questions before we start, or anything you want me to specifically cover? Cool. Just to recap, what's an IPO? It's the first time a company is selling to the market to raise funds for their own company and to get the early investors out of the stock if they so choose after 100 days. And it's typically underwritten by an investment bank. And I'll emphasize by investment bank. You want someone like Morgan Stanley, Citigroup, someone who has a very good road show to really pump up the stock, because you want the stock as high as possible to have that excitement. Why do I choose IPO bases? That has the highest success rate, around 15%. Every other base has a lower. And this is from a pure technical standpoint. It's just pure technical and has the highest rates. And that's why I like it. Here's the caveat, right? POs have not been doing as well as in the past. I really liked it in the years past, but the past few years, it's been really hard getting to any IPOs until lately. So what do I look for IPOs? You want to see a large price increase, meaning more than $10 is not a single digit. There's a strong underwriter. It's part of a leading group. I don't want an IPO to be a gold miner stock, typically, unless we're in today's environment. And I want to see that left side high within 25 days. After about 25 days, this is a very early entry way. I'm not talking about getting into IPO about 1 year later, 6 months later, or a year and a half. There's a different way to do that. I'm just talking about the first few weeks of my IPO. Is this going to take off like a rocket ship? What bases are there? There's more bases than this, but I'm just going to talk about 4. Cup with handle, flat base, and a consolidation area, which is just 2 bases, right? We all know cup with handle, remember the run up. This was my most forgetful thing of every base, is that 30% run up at least, or a 1-to-1 ratio run up. Then you have a little handle down here. Typically it's higher than the old high and then goes up. There's some high cups and handles, but that's on another day. Flat bases is pretty much goes up. Remember 20-35%, goes sideways, less than 15%, and then it goes rocketing up. So Jeff asked, what is your data set for the graph of success rate of bases? So this was done, they analyzed tens of thousands of stocks. This is from IBD. IBD analyzed tens of thousands of stocks, and pretty much they categorize every single one. So it was done by, I think it was Mike Webster, and he analyzed every single stock on market search along with Bill O'Neill and found out success rate. So it's not my data set, it's the data set I trust from IBD and Mike Webster. And you guys know Mike Webster, he's a big data nerd. I also want to say, what are not bases? What are not bases for IPOs? Because these are standard bases you can look at if there's a double bottom, if there's ascending. These are very valid bases, even though I've never made money on an ascending base. I bought so many ascending bases and I haven't made money on it. I'm like, what the heck? Am I looking at it wrong? What is going on? I don't know what's going on, but that's just my trading ability, because we all have different eyes and arts of the craft. So what's in the base itself? Cups and flat bases, they're really compressed. The length is about 5 weeks, 25 trading days. The length can be as low as 2 weeks, but I've done it as short as 7 days before, where it goes up 1, 2, 3, and goes around 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15. On 15 days, that was 2 weeks, it runs up. I have done those before. Before I go into chart analysis, is there any questions at this current moment?
Yes. You want the IPO to go up within 25 trading days?
Trading days.
Okay.
So why do we care about bases? Let's look at a company we might enjoy, Boston Beer Company or Samuel Adams. It didn't have a first day, maybe first week run up, but after a while, it never really went up. it even undercut the IPO price of $20. The IPO price does not mean it's the price that you're trading at and the price you can get it at. So it finally undercut the 20 and just kept on going lower. And of course, we can see what goes on today. Align technology. Some we might have traded, but when the IPO happened, it was actually pretty exciting. The first week it went up to about $17, but after the second week it went back to the IPO price and almost went down to $2. So as an IPO, not so great, but as a tech stock, some of us might have made double-digit returns on this. Facebook, or AKA Meta. I definitely remember this because this is when I started swing trading. It was about 13 years ago. I was like, wow, Facebook's coming out. I'm using Facebook. This is going to be amazing, right? But I went to Facebook. I was like, wow, first day is good. First week is good. Second week, I was like, what is going on? And it started consolidating. After the first half a year, you can form that double bottom base, and then you have a buyout opportunity. So just because it doesn't form an IPO base within that first 25 days or 5 weeks, there's still a buying opportunity when it forms a base. Look at that run up. That's beautiful. That's $17 to $32. That's definitely greater than 30%. Then you have a beautiful double bottom, undercuts, goes through the middle, and you buy it. Beautiful. So all of those had no bases, meaning it just pretty much went down. None of these went up. So that's why I personally don't like buying just right off the bat. But if you have some sort of belief, it's your money, your choices. And we're going to get to hear George's belief about Figma. Any questions on IPOs no base? Okay. Let's go to IPO no breakouts. If you guys remember, coupons.com. So coupons.com, pretty much, remember that left side high, you want about 25 trading days. So the left side high of 25 trading days is about $33. If I try to buy early and just try to do a little trend line, let's say early buy point right over here. It hit here, it had this stalling action. It's a blue bar, less than 50%. And the close price is the bottom 50% of the bar. So it stalled. And it never breaks out. And then it just went on to become lower. Even if you bought at $20, a few weeks later, it would really hurt. So most might have found a job here. It's LinkedIn. LinkedIn, let's see what happens. So that left side high, it did go down initially. That first week was really good because the IPO price was $45 and it hit over 100, so almost over double the IPO price. But again, it does not mean the whole market's overjoyed. It might mean they had a really good roadshow and every single fund manager and person was buying it. Because I'm pretty sure that when LinkedIn IPO, it was a unicorn. So never really will hit the high. You could do an early trend line buyout, but there's no really consolidation on the weekly chart. Maybe there's something on the daily, but it's unlikely looking at this point. Never breaks out, and it just never really moved. I try to find names that everyone recognizes. This one is less recognizable. It's 10 networks. And I'm just going to emphasize the letter alpha, and 10. Because I have another one has a similar name that I confuse my own brain with. Is the IPO price a good price? Yes, because it's greater than $10. I want double-digit prices. We're not trying to look for penny stocks. We're not trying to look for the cheapest price. We're trying to look for the stock that has the highest chance of going up. It tried to poke up a little bit, but it never really happened and just went straight downhill from there. Any questions on why I pretty much wait until the IPO breakout? Cool. So this is the fun part, right? IPO is actually breaking out. I know Bill O'Neill says, I like to give you good charts to look at. I want you to train your eyes so you can spot good charts. I don't want you to look at bad charts. I like looking at bad and good charts because I want to see what happens because charts tell me my emotions. If I'm in a stock and I bought it that Friday, all of a sudden it goes up, I think I'm a genius that day. If I wait another week, hopefully I have a stop loss of 7, maybe 8%, but I would be hurting. But IPO is breaking out. GoPro. They still are around today. I still use their devices, but but I think they're getting a little behind on technology with the newer cameras coming out with the DJIs and the Insta360s. So we're going to look at two types of charts here. We've been looking at weekly charts lately. Now we're going to look at the daily charts and the weekly charts, because our time frame can be as little as 7 days. How can we tell 7 days on a weekly chart? It's really hard. So let's take a look at GoPro. So GoPro IPO price was $24 on the first day, almost about 20-30% run up. Beautiful. First 3 days up. Perfect. Like a good croissant. And then it went that left side high of about $50. Went sideways for a bit. There's a early buy point here. So the problem with IPOs is that most of the time you can use just that one day that hits a little high, and then you can use it as an alternative buy point as an early buy to see where it goes. You could have bought it here, even on the close when you checked it. But of course, I would put in buy limits. You might miss it because IPOs can run really quick. Plan your trade before the market starts. $50. And on that day, it closed above the previous high. What matters quite a bit is volume. Is this volume greater than most of the base? There's a previous high here, a little bit of buying, but it's consolidating. Generally speaking, it's above average volume. So pretty good.
Why?
So what ends up happening? Pretty much it went from $50 to almost doubling before it had a reversal day. But there's been some debate about if that's true or not, if Bill actually held it for 8 years, 8 weeks. So surprisingly, I've never traded this stock, Intercontinental Exchange, aka ICE. Not the ICE that's on the news. What is the exchange called ICE? Let's look what happened. The previous high was on the first day, and it did go down. But it's still tradable because what's the IPO price? It's at $26. And you have market search, you can see what was the IPO price. So just like before, there's an alternative pivot. This is just that one day that reversed for that previous high, and then consolidates a bit, and then you could buy it. But the next day it dropped down $1. But hey, $1 on $40, not too bad. It's only a few percentage points. But the next day after that, oh, now I went up $2. I went up $1.50. Oh shoot, I went up $4, 10% one day. And what's beautiful, that pickup in volume at that pivot. Yes, it doesn't look that great. The whole thing's a base, but that's okay. Let's see what happens on the weekly chart. And this is one of the sell rules of the IPO basis, similar to other stocks. What is the moving average? This is the 10-week or 50-day moving average, and it broke an above average volume. So we see right here, this is the highest volume that's been traded this entire time, besides the first week, at 13 million. So here you would definitely sell, or over here you can sell at that 8-week rule, or you can try to sell a little bit while longer, or you can sell at this reversal bar, depending on your rules. I like selling at reversal bars, but what that means is that I might have sold right over here too, because went from about $44. So did you have your 25% gain? Yeah, you did. So I emphasized A10 at first because this was now called ADTRN, ADTN. I confused myself when I was making this presentation. I was like, what is ADTRN versus A10? This one doesn't have an alternative pivot point. The IPO was 1750. There was a nice first day run up. I would like to see the first 3 days go pro, right? This makes me have a stronger belief, but it still works. The pivot point hit at 23 was the left side high. This was about 2 weeks long. That was a strong move on pivot day. How was the volume on breakout? Similar to every single swing IBD system, we want a high volume breakout because that means people are coming in, as in the whales are coming in, not the dolphins, not the fish, the whales. So how to do? If we follow that rule of that 10-week moving average on the break of it, let's see what happened. We go up, So we bought it at, there's a stock split on this, isn't there? Yeah, $23. So there's probably a 2-for-1 stock split right there. So there was a 2-for-1 stock split. So what do we sell at? Dun 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 dun. Boom. This one. So we sold it at $33 or AKA 66. So we went up from 23 to 66 and we made almost a triple. We almost made a triple based on a 10-week, but sometimes this happens, sometimes this doesn't. Or is your sell roll, I'm just gonna hold it for 8 weeks until it breaks the 10-week, or I'm gonna hold it for 8 weeks and then I'm gonna sell to see where it does. All depends on your rule, and this is why there's that art to it. How's the macro market conditions? How is the people mentality? How is your mentality? And all of these pretty much adds up to how you trade inside the market. So I talked about IPO before that. Any questions on IPOs breaking out? Anything I said that was unclear that you want me to go double click on or go a little deeper? Let's go into recent IPOs. There's 3 IPOs that we're going to look at that actually did this IPO base. And it's finally starting to work. There's Circle Group, Titanium, which is beauty products, and CoreWeave. I have a feeling that everyone probably knows Circle Group and CoreWeave, but Titanium, not everyone might know because it might be considered a thinly traded stock. But let's take a look at the charts. So, CoreWeave. Everyone sees the chart, okay?
Yep.
Cool. So, CoreWeave, what the heck happened? I'm going to get my notes. So where's the left side high in the daily chart? It's right around $51. So the buy point would have been on 0524. But what happens? That means we'll buy it at about $64. So buy at 64. Let's see the moving averages. It's called the 10-day moving average a bit. But let's take a look at the weekly chart. What ends up happening? Well, up to 63, and we do that 8-week hold rule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is now our 8-week. So we're up about almost 300, almost a triple bagger. And now we're going on this last week. What's been happening on this last week? All right, today happened. So what happened today? It was following the 10-week. It's right around there. And when it's right around there, I typically say 2% under any moving averages until I'm like, maybe I'll sell. So over here, guess what happened? It's 2% below. But then my other criteria is making sure there's a high enough volume on that 2%. Is that a very high above average volume? Not really. So now comes the hard part. It's like, how's the market? How's everything? Do you sell? Do you keep it? Up to your risk tolerance, up to your view of the stock. So this is not a reversal day. That's a stalling day, reversal. Does anyone have this stock and want to tell us how you guys have managed this position so far?
I can repeat the story that I told earlier on the IPO day. I picked it up at 39, held on to it, and sometime later I sold a covered call at $85. And when it hit about 120, my shares were taken away from me, but I went from 39 to 85 plus the call premium I got. So it was better than 100% gain. And I don't know, maybe a month and a half or however long I held it. So I feel good about getting out at 85, but I missed the 180, obviously. And I didn't buy it because I had any inside information. It was just a pure speculatory buy. And I was willing to, if it went to zero, it wouldn't affect my life. It's a success story, but not because I'm a smart guy. It's because I was lucky.
I think that's something that people should be aware of. How much of your net worth are you trading inside your stock market account? That kind of determines your risk factor too. If you're trading 100% of your net worth inside your stock market account, that's probably a lot more emotions that will come forward versus someone who's trading 5% of their net worth.
It's called position sizing.
Yep. position sizing.
There's been whole books written on that one topic.
I do believe like position sizing, it's literally why people make money. That's why every single strategy works. It's because you position size correctly. No one trade is going to blow up your account.
And you sleep better, you eat better, you're less angry. So your life is not as stressful as if you take a high risk. And even if you put 20% of your net worth, that's too high.
That's
Especially on a new stock like this. I had no idea this thing was going to go to 187 when I bought it. If I did, I never would have sold the 85 call.
I would just execute on the call and just.
When I sold the 85 call, I assumed the call was going to expire worthless.
No one knows. That's the fun of the market.
Yeah.
So let's look at Titanium. The 50-day average volume is barely 10 million. Look at what happened today. Some guy could come in with 2 million shares traded, barely. So it was like 20 million. Some whales could come in and just short that, but apparently there's enough support. What I did like about this is that left side high. Yes, I say first 3 days. And it wasn't the first greatest 3 days, but IPO at $4, but it went up to $7. So I was like, that piqued my interest a little bit. Had a breakout on less than stellar volume, but for some reason it did hit that 25% target. Was this a stock that I would hold for monster gains? Depends on your history. My history tells me I do not keep these stocks for monster gains. This 200 million market cap, yes, it can go up to 2 billion, so I can 10x this or something. I can tell that story to myself. But based on my history of trading for the past 10 years for swing trading, that is not something that typically happens to me. I'm not trying to hit a home run. I'm just trying to get my account to grow maybe 25% every single year. And I'm pretty happy camper at 25% per year, because over 10 years, the account would, quadruple?
Hey, Haley, someone made the comment that they stay away from Chinese stocks. I wouldn't consider this a Chinese stock, would you?
I feel like Hong Kong people and Chinese people are a little bit different. Where there's, I don't want to say ethics, but I feel like there's different ethics. There was a Chinese IPO stock that got dumped recently. I remember seeing it. I was like, it was like some kind of biotech company. Let me see if I have it in my recent symbols list. And I was just like, that's insane. It's not Hinge, not OneStream, Omada. Is it BioChrist? No. There was a Chinese biotech company that got like a 99% drawdown recently. And I was like, oh, this is why I also don't really trade Chinese stocks. Anyways, Titanium, CoreWeave. We did CoreWeave. Oh, Circle. We didn't do that one yet. So Circle, how do we do? First 3 days, bam. Ooh, sexy. All right, we draw the horizontal line. We see the second day high. So this is my problem with CoreWeave, right? I did say as little as 7 days. How many days was this? 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3, 4, 5 days. I have done 5 days before, but I'd like to say 7. It depends on what happens. There's a gap up on the 6th day. This gap up turned into almost like a stalling gap up, which is not something I like to see. It was not extremely high volume, which is a good sign, until about 2 days later. And if we look at how this kind of went, it's really hard to hold, because even when you bought it at the beginning of the day, it's like it undercut the beginning, and it was a lower high and a lower low. So what does trading tell us? It typically tells us, I want to sell this. How do you manage emotions that day? And that's really the art of trading and how you keep your stocks. But how do you know? You just don't know. If you bought it at, let's say, 140, just for easy, bought it at 150, you could have made almost a double bagger in a few days. But now the question comes, when do you sell? It hasn't been a very long history. It hasn't even been a month yet. Yes, it has been a month. There's a little bit more than a month of history. It has undercut the 10-day moving average. And finally, the 21-day moving averages is coming up. And when undercut, it wasn't on the highest volume day. So it's like, you could wrestle around with this internally a little bit. Do you want to hold it for a while longer? Do you think it's going to go down more? Do you think it's going to go up more? Does anyone that's holding Circle wants to talk about the position? If they held it or if they sold it or made or lost money on it? That looks ugly on the weekly chart. But that's pretty much the IPO presentation. I do have one more slide, I believe, I want to show you. It's called Upcoming IPOs. So upcoming IPOs. One of the people who has been a long time, how to say it, long time member is going to talk about Figma. And I think the easiest way to explain companies to compare to other competitors, right? So Figma is a company that competes with Adobe and Google Workspace. It does a lot of UI, UX design. Hopefully that doesn't sound like a foreign language. There's going to be Databricks that's been trying to IPO for the longest time. Figma is probably the closest and competes with Snowflake and Palantir. There's also Cerebus Systems that competes with NVIDIA. I'm actually interested in Cerebra's system because it actually has a significant magnitude or cheaper chips on processing power. Intel has maybe 30% better processing power, but the problem is NVIDIA is locking everyone into their software. Everything works with NVIDIA. And to save 30%, but to lose a week or two worth of time in the AI stage, it's a lot of time because the problem with making software or AI is that it changes on a weekly basis. How I know this is because I'm in San Francisco, this AI capital of the world, and my friends are in this place called Frontier Tower, and they're literally trying to push the frontier of every single technology. And this is what I learned from them. So Cerebras, if you give me it 10 times cheaper, you might make me change. So that's why I think that's a good competitor to NVIDIA and not like Intel, which just saves 30% in money, but loses a week or two of time. It's usually about 20% slower, but it's about 30% cheaper. So there's pros and cons. At this stage, George, you can go ahead and start getting ready for the presentation. I'm going to pull up your document now.
Did Cerebras file an S1? No.
No, not yet.
Okay.
I'm trying to find out where I put your document. Take me there.
Lou Gehrig's mother lived in Milford. That's why we have a baseball field here. It's Christina Gehrig with her son Lou from the Yankees.
I just muted that just in case. I don't want to say anything just yet. I know the feeling of turning the face red. So, IPO spotlight. George, is this good enough for you to read off of and I want to get a rough idea?
Actually, I'm hooked up to you guys with my phone, but I got my tablet that I'm waiting for. Can you hear me okay? I'm not feeling too good, so I'm laying down. I call this IPO Spotlight. And the IPO is Figma filed its S1 on July 1st, and it's going to trade under the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker FIG. It's expected to raise $1.5 billion. It was a discretionary S1, so the stock price and the IPO aren't known. We'll know when we know. Things to keep in mind, the market is very pricey. The Shiller-Cape ratio, which is a cyclically adjusted PE ratio, is at 38. It's actually at 38.26. I looked at it today. That's the third highest since 1871. The Buffett indicator, which is total market cap over GDP, is at an all-time high. It's actually at 209 now. And Buffett stated once that the indicator is at 200 or above, you're playing with fire. The fear and greed index is at 75, which is considered extreme greed. So stocks are expensive. Figma should have its IPO within the next 30 to 90 days, but if market internals deteriorate, that could postpone the IPO, obviously. To give an example, CoreWeave, I believe, had its S1 on March 3rd of this year, and then IPO'd on March 28th, just 3 weeks later. That's very quick. Internet Group had its S1, I believe, April 1st, and then IPO'd 2 months later, June 5th. So that's something to consider. Figma was founded in 2012 and publicly launched in 2016 by two computer science students at Brown University by the name of Dylan Field and Evan Wallace. Field is the CEO and Wallace is the CTO. So what does Figma do anyways? It's a software platform for collaborative design and application development. It's like Google Docs, but for design. Using Figma, collaborative teams can work in real time on the same design at once. It's cloud-based, so it's done in your browser. No software needs to be downloaded. And people can be anywhere in the world and doing this together. In 2022, Adobe tried to acquire, Adobe's a big block in design. They're the big ones. They've got 160 billion market cap. In 2022, they tried to acquire Figma for 20 billion, but the merger fell through because regulators in Europe felt the merger would harm competition. So basically thought it was a monopoly. Because the deal fell through, according to the agreement they had with Figma, Adobe paid Figma a $1 billion breakup fee. And that's sweet. I'll take that all day long. The market capitalization last summer, based on a tender, so insiders could cash out some shares, Figma was valued at $12.5 billion. The fact that Adobe would pay $20 billion 2 years prior to that tells me that Figma is a highly valued company and a prize that Adobe really wanted to have. If not, why would they pay that much? I would guess that Figma is currently worth somewhere between 17 and 20 billion. So who are Figma's competitors? Obviously, it's Adobe. They've been around for 43 years, and they have a market cap of 160 billion. Canva is another one. They're most likely going to IPO within the next 6 to 12 months. Sketch is another, and while it's some designers' favorite, its market share has declined since Figma showed up. And then the great unknown is AI, and only time will tell to what degree this impacts Figma. So what is Figma investing in? Figma has significantly increased investment in AI and considers AI essential to evolving as a company. In their S1 filing, they mention AI over 200 times. So they obviously are taking that seriously. Research and development expenditures have increased 33% year over year. Figma has new product development such as Figma Make, Figma Buzz, and Figma Draw. Just know that the company is working hard to increase their sales and customer base. Figma recently spent $49.5 million on strategic tech acquisitions. Now, the crypto treasury, it seems that Figma has taken a page from Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy playbook. They currently own $69.5 million in Bitcoin, and the board just approved another $30 million. This treasury strategy shows a desire to diversify and potentially grow idle cash reserves. And I think that's a great idea. I think more and more companies will employ this strategy. So what put Figma on my radar? The numbers. They had the annual sales in 2022 of $346 million. 2023 went to $505 million, and 2024 $749 million. That's a 48% year-over-year increase. In the first quarter of 2025, the revenue was $228.2 million versus quarter one of $156.2. That's a 46% year-over-year increase. Their net income of $44.9 million. That's more than 3 times from quarter of 2024, the first quarter. And their rolling ARR is $912 million, annual recurring revenue. Figma has approximately $1.5 billion in cash and equivalents versus $544 million in total liabilities. So why do I think Figma is a winner? Number one, it's got explosive growth. They have exceptionally high gross margins of 90%. The first quarter of 2025, it was 91.48. They're sticky. They have a low churn. Teams that adopt it tend to stick with it. It has a freemium model which drives viral adoption across organizations. Free customers become paying customers, and it has a transparent, user-first culture with a strong emphasis on community feedback. Number 5, it's ubiquitous. 95% of the Fortune 500 use it, and most are paid customers. Approximately 30,000 companies actively rely on Figma as their core design platform, so it's deeply embedded in the design and product ecosystem globally. So it's a very powerful tool, and people love it. This is an important number 6. It has no debt. Figma has a credit line, but hasn't used it and prefers a clean balance sheet, and I like that. It has had top-tier venture capital investors such as Index Ventures, Andreessen Horowitz, and Greylock Partners. It has top-tier underwriters, including Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, and JP Morgan. Figma has a net dollar retention rate of 132%. Anything above 100 is considered positive. An NDR of 120% or more is exceptional and signifies strong expansion within the customer base. And this last one is my own. It still has the original founders at the helm. I always like it when founders of a company are still running things versus someone from the outside. The CEO and Wallace, the CTO, are in their early 30s, so giving birth to this company has been a major part of their lives. Bringing a company to life, they've had their share of ups and downs, headaches, drawbacks, and sleepless nights. They put their blood, sweat, and tears into this company, and for that reason, I'm confident that the two will do everything and anything they can make to make the company flourish and their investors happy. Because after all, nobody cares more about a company than the founders. Thanks very much for listening to my presentation. Sorry it was a little bit amateurish, but I did this as the very last thing. I emailed Haley a couple days ago and mentioned, hey, I could do this spotlight. And I thought, what am I thinking? It's only a couple days away. So if I do another one, I like IPOs. I think personally, the IPO market is making a comeback, and both institutions and retail traders are really hungry to invest in new companies that become publicly traded. Only time will tell. This is my view on Figma. Yours may be different. Take everything I said with a grain of salt and make sure that you do your own due diligence. Don't tell me, oh, I put my whole net worth because you said so, George.
No, we're all
This company, I think it's a great company. I see the CEO, Dylan, he's a visionary. And as long as they're with the helm and they have the voting rights, I believe Field himself has 51%, just Field. So I think it'll IPO sometime in August or September, but who knows?
So this is the Figma website. It has AI stuff, dev, UI, UX, drawing, but it's a whole collaboration software. Canva is for everyday users making banners, designs, cards. But for Figma, it's for the developers to making sure that, hey, all work at the same time, even on the same page, to make sure that the flow of a website, of a software, will work beautifully. I might actually try using this when I design a website that I need for my business.
The great thing is, because it's in the browser and it's on the cloud, anybody can be anywhere in the world and still work with the team together.
And this is the freemium model that George was talking about. It's literally, you can start on your personal projects, just brainstorming, presentation and stuff. Then you can start going on professional, and you can buy collab seats for $3 and stuff like that. There's also other softwares like Notions. Actually, I'm kind of interested whenever Notion will IPO. That'll be an interesting time. Oh, is there any questions for George?
Me, George, Floyd here. It was very well done. It was not amateurish at all, George.
I just started on it yesterday. Thank you.
George, can you comment?
Go ahead.
George, can you comment on where you get your information for your presentation?
I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube, not from stock gurus, but from real sources. So I'm watching a lot of CNBC, but I Google the website and I've seen other people talk about it. And I get my information mostly from online sources.
Okay.
And from what I've heard about this company for a while, and it's the one I'm really interested in is Databricks. That's the one I've fallen in love with, but they keep postponing. But yeah, just go online and type in numbers for Figma or something.
So George, you're going to buy Fig?
Here's the thing. I'm glad you asked that, Floyd. You mentioned CoreWeave. One thing that made me mad about Circle is that following IBD guidelines, I didn't get into it because it didn't have a 7-day base. I'm wondering, when you got in CoreWeave, did you put it? I read that IPOs, when they have their first opening day, they don't open at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. They usually open at somewhere between 11 and 2. Did you put your buy on CoreWeave prior to the opening?
No, I did not. When it opened, it was trading around 40 or 41. So I put a limit price of 39. And I said, if I get it, great. If I don't, that's fine too. And a little bit later, I bought when it hit 39.
Oh, okay.
So no, I did not have an order in before it went public.
So George, you want to see Circle pretty much like around noon Eastern time. They did an IPO at 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
They did an IPO. So you look at the 60-minute chart into the first day of trading.
What is the date of that gap up? Right there. What's that date?
June 6th.
616. There's your buy day, George.
I think you told me.
Look at the volume. It's about the third highest volume, and it's a gap up, and it closed in the upper half of the bar. And you had a little bit of pressure the next few days, but then it goes from 150 to 290.
So George, I did really like your presentation. So I want to invite, if anyone wants to present a specific stock, doesn't have to be IPOs. You can just email me. I put my email into the chat. Email me what stock you want to do, and we can do something similar. It's nice having a group discussion. And as much as I love to sound my own voice, I also want to hear your voice too. So email me if there's a stock you want to present. We'll hop on a call. We'll talk about it. Highly flexible. Yes.
I'm glad you said that. It reminded me of something. I volunteered. And I'll tell you, I used to belong to the Northern California group, the chat group, for 15 years. And subscribed last week because there's 1,000 people in that group, literally. And it's always the same 6 to 10 people chatting. I just found it like this is a waste of time. And so I quit. And I'm hoping we have a nice, intimate, small group. And I think everybody should try to do something. You don't have to be a stock wizard. I'm far from a stock wizard, but I like IPOs and I thought I'd do it. I just wish I hadn't told you at the last minute.
Or Floyd, if someone's read a really good, give us a little book report.
If there's someone well-versed in options, one thing I would like to know is all about deep in the money calls, leaps. When Floyd speaks, he's very well-versed in options, and he starts going into stuff, and I feel like a 4-year-old trying to listen to somebody explain calculus to me. Options have a lot of moving parts, and that scares me. The one thing I've looked at is that call leaps give you a lot of time to be right in the stock. And if you deepen the money and you have a 90 delta, you get basically the move of the stock. So I'm looking at this right now. I bought a couple books online, but if somebody's really versed in doing leaps, that'd be interesting.
And one minor point, George, many of the IPOs do not have options for a period of time. CoreWeave was a little bit of an exception from my experience in that I could start trading options shortly after it IPO'd, but there's others that may not have options for the first 30 days or longer.
That's 30 billion for weekly volume. So maybe that's why.
There's still a lot of great companies out there that should IPO. I don't know what they're waiting for, but I think they get so much money in these funding rounds, like Stripe. Those two Collison brothers, every time they're interviewed and somebody asks IPO date, they hark away from talking about it.
Yeah, but so Gary asked for a few more stocks. So OKLO. This looks like a SPAC. So as an IPO, this would be the left side high, and it just failed.
I just read yesterday that Oklo has been approved to put one of their mini reactors at the first U.S. military installation that's going to be installed at Eielson Air Force Base, which is 20 or 30 miles outside of Fairbanks. They chose it partly because of its remote location and also because it's very dependent on one source of power. And Oklo is, I think, in charge of design and installation of that mini reactor. And if it goes well, there could be many other military installations that would want the same thing. It's on the cusp of potentially brand new power generation nuclear technology. My understanding is it's intrinsically safe and it's small enough that it can serve a single military installation. It can't melt down. I think it's good for 50 years. They can pull out the nuclear material, take it to a depository and put in a new batch of nuclear material for letting the plant continue to operate another 50 years. But I may not have all this down perfectly, but I know the Trump administration would like to see more nuclear energy developed and maybe less emphasis on wind and solar.
Yep.
So that's under the current administration, although that could change 3 years from now or so. But it's interesting that I just saw the name Oklo yesterday in the news on an Air Force base being selected as the first military installation. So I don't know if that's old information or if anyone's hearing this for the first time. I heard it for the first time yesterday.
That's a first for me. I just saw Sam Altman resign from Oklo. Sam Altman is the CEO of OpenAI, which does ChatGPT, which is the largest large language model of AI that's out there. Why?
He's creepy.
Oh, he is the founder of Oklo. Why is Sam Altman creepy?
I just get creepy vibes from him.
I was like, he's short. But that's all I really know. I don't really know about him. Wow. So Sam Altman found Oklo, but now Jacob. So what I do see from Oklo is maybe not IPO based, but probably high tide flag formation. If we assume that high tide flags can be double, this is a major growth, right? $20 over to almost 80, it's like hundreds of percent, and we're going down about, let's say 40-50%, and that's actually really tight for a flag. So what I will do is I'm gonna put a little indicator. I said alert.
I don't know if you saw Carl's message. Carl says that the unit they're going to put in at Eielson Air Force Base is the size of a train railroad car.
There's probably no early buy points here unless I really force it and I really believe in it. I'm gonna set another alert at the previous high at 59 to see what's gonna happen. Okay.
It's all the
Wow.
high negative volume audio.
4 payments. How are we doing here?
Look at that green earnings curve line. It's going up at a 30-degree angle.
That's one thing I do appreciate about Dow Jones taking over MarketSmith. I don't have to pay thousands a month for this earnings line. Because that was one of the key things that we're missing. Northern California lead Tanner used to track the earnings line because that's one of the proprietary things. And now they just give it to everybody. So it's nice to see. But otherwise, 47% deep base, 21 weeks. The low is 42. You could say the high is 120. Maybe, I don't know. Or you could say it's from here, 70. The low is 57, goes up to 127. That might work. It's about the base about half of the run, but it's not something I like to see. But I do, like Floyd said, that earnings line is quite nice. There's no big fund owners there. It's a $9 billion company. Average volume's about 200 million, which is good enough.
The one thing they teach in the advanced strategy class with IBD is if you put your cursor on that big down day where the dotted line is going to the top of that, now hit your control key and draw a line downwards to intercept the current price. Draw a line right there. If you see a future price bar that's substantially above that line on very strong volume, that's a potential buy signal. And that would be a cup without handle.
Is that on the master class? I don't remember this one.
It might have been level 5. They have a class where they talk about advanced buying strategies, because typically with the cup with handle and the double bottom, you draw a horizontal line across the page to get your buy point, but in the advanced class, they draw a downward sloping line to get an earlier buy point. Instead of waiting until it gets to 125, the buy point might be at 110.
This is nice. Is it channeling?
You'll end up with almost the same buy point as if you draw that downward sloping line, right?
Yeah.
So that might be a confirmation of two different signals. That's above all the moving averages, which is a good thing. I'm not suggesting anyone go out and buy this, but that is one way to look at an alternate buy point. Could be around 107, 108, 109. If it has a 3 million per share or 3 million share per day or higher volume, and it breaks out through those trend lines, that is a possible entry point. You could probably go in with a 1/3 position size. And if it continues to go higher, then you go 2/3. If it continues higher, then you go all in. If you put 1/3 in and it goes sideways or starts going down, then you've only risked 1/3 of your desired position size, and you could sell it and get out.
That is very true. I want to make another announcement. Let's share this screen again. So for people who weren't with us in the beginning, I just like to remind everyone that IBD is ending the meetup, but I am continuing all our meetups. IBD is ending it on July 22nd, 2025. We continue without the IBD names. I was talking to Amy Smith. She says they don't have access to the IBD meetup organizer account. If they don't assign someone in the group, hopefully me, I've emailed them, I've talked to them, then there's a chance that the group might get deleted. As a backup, I'm proposing everyone to go to Google Groups and add their email address or message me. My email's in the chat. And I'm going to paste the link to the chat right now. So whoever wants to join it, click on that.
The group has 700 members, Haley. It might be good before the meetup site goes away to send a message to all 700 members and say, please go to the following link and provide your email address if you want to be part of the future meetup group.
Because that is probably, I want to send
those 700 people. If only 200 respond, that's 200 more emails than you have now.
We have about 20 something members. So thank you for the few who has already joined the group during this meetup. But I just want to make sure I get everybody, just like whoever wants to be active, who wants to be an active participant. I want to make sure that we get your contact. So all of a sudden it's, oh my gosh, we lost everyone. Or it's like, hey, I haven't heard of the email for 3 months. What is going on? I was like, yeah, I deleted the meetup group and I had to recreate a new one. There's just a mess right now. Amy Smith is no longer with IBD, who leads all the IBD meetups. So join the Google group. I'll send out another email after this meeting before July 22nd. Shortly after this meeting, you're going to get spam from me this month. I'm going to send a separate message about Google groups, about joining the meetups. I'll send a separate email with all the recordings too. So everyone, please join the Google group. I'm going to be a little bit spammy this month with 2 or 3 emails to make sure that we don't miss anyone and we're still staying together as a community. Okay, that was the announcement I wanted to make. And back to the announcements.
And Haley, Floyd, I really appreciate you hanging in there and not being discouraged by this announcement. And you have the opportunity to take this into a new direction and onwards and upwards and better.
Yes. Because now instead, in the past, meetup leaders have gotten in trouble with IBD about presenting certain information. Now we can just talk about anything and everything. We can go deeper into options. We can go deeper into Iron Condors. We can even talk about the other strategy. We can even talk about ETFs now, trading it. And we can even have critiques about IBD and where it falls short because we're going to be no longer IBD affiliated.
That would be interesting.
Yes, because there are some things that IBD doesn't work well. Like IBD doesn't go well into day trading, which I've tried and I just can't make it work. Maybe someone else has made it work, and we can actually talk about IBD for day trading, or what technical analysis has worked for IBD, or some of the proprietary information that I've gotten from some of the master classes that they do not allow me to share. I can share certain files because we're no longer affiliated and we're a small group. We're 700 members, and every meeting we have 30 people.
We've had as many as 100 attend because my Zoom membership limits. I had at least one meeting where people couldn't get in because 100 people were participating. So the potential's there for a lot more than 20 or 30 because it's happened previously.
Yep. That'll be awesome. And for George's concern, it's like I am moderating all the emails in Google groups because I'm in Northern California too. And I'm part of that group. There's just the same two people who make text comments on emails, and I'm like, this is a lot of emails, to say it nicely.
I hope the intro will come up with new features on market search. Very painful how limited their range of feature is.
That's why I use two softwares, TradingView and MarketSmith, because MarketSmith is probably the best screener still. But if anyone knows, one thing I've been trying to find out is the fundamentals still correct. I used to talk with Ira about the fundamentals and earnings differing in the reports. They always do corrections for the earnings reports. They make sure the one-time expenses are taken out because there's different earnings and sales and revenue. Sometimes you have a one-time expense, like you sell a building for 50 or 100 million. Your sales doesn't increase, but it does increase on the EBITDA. And they actually take out those one-time expenses to make sure it's normalized a little bit. So make sure it's comparing to apples. So those are some of the things I've talked to IBD. And now since they're changing more and more MarketSmith and the market surge earnings lines, I'm wondering if they still have that accuracy inside their sales and EPS. I have to talk to them again about this because that's the main reason why I want MarketSmith. It's for the screener and the accuracy on the fundamentals.
Isn't the IBD's market surge guru, Scott, just call him up and ask him the question directly. He'll tell you.
Scott,
Sinclair.
Yeah, just call Scott St. Clair and tell him you're a former IBD meetup leader and you're going forward in a new direction as a leader of a spinoff group and you want to ask a little bit about market surge fundamentals. He'll tell you.
Oh, curious. I'm going to ask Scott St. Clair. Maybe we can get a group discount for Market Surge. Say, hey, Scott, I got 30 to 100 people who want to buy Market Surge. Give us a group discount code that's valid for 100 uses.
TradingView is a fraction of the cost of MarketSmith because occasionally we have those Black Friday sales and Thinkorswim you can get for free if you have a Schwab account. I don't know if people are going to keep wanting to pay $1,400 a year for Market Surge.
Sale right now?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I saw a killer sale around 4th of July and Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I usually get the Thanksgiving sale every single year. No, there's no sale right now.
I tell you what happened to me last year when they had the Thanksgiving sale. I signed up for it and they charged me full price. And I think I texted them and I may not have this exactly correct, guys, but I sent them a text and they said, if you want the discount, you have to ask for it. I said, I'm asking for it right now. They credited my credit card and I'm going, if I hadn't asked for it, would they not have given it to me? It was bizarre that I got charged full price. And so when I texted them on it, I said, hey, I thought I was supposed to get the Black Friday price. They go, do you want that? And I said, yes. And then they gave me the credit.
maybe they're struggling.
Or maybe it's just a business tactic. I don't know, George, but I was surprised that I needed to take that extra step to actually get the Black Friday price.
That's weird. You make me
Because
want to check my credit card bill now. Because I
the-
assumed it was
the sale that was happening just now was like 80% off. And that's ridiculously low. So maybe they're struggling.
Alex asked, do you have to subscribe to his data package when you sign up for TradingView? The answer is no. But I
No.
do buy
Yeah.
extra data.
No, you don't.
You're welcome. Guantam? Please correct me for your name. I'm sorry for pronouncing it wrong. Has anyone looked at cover called indexes such as ETFs such as QQQI, SPYI? Not me. Anyone else? Anyone do it?
No.
Thank you for your kind words, Gary. Christina asks, question for the group. How much of your total portfolio is invested in IBD/growth stock strategy? If not 100, how else are you invested? So I have many different accounts. I probably have 5 different trading accounts. My IBD is just a fraction, probably 30%. The other stuff is just I have some long-term holds on some other accounts. Like my Nvidia account. That one's a long-term hold for freaking 10 years.
Yeah, Floyd here. I'd say I'm one of my trading accounts where I'm following IBD strategy, but if the market starts turning down, then I'll start going to cash. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. We talk a lot about position size, but from years of going to meetings, I've never heard anybody like really discuss like in a full portfolio, like how much are people really using this strategy? Is it like most of their portfolio or is it just a portion? So it's just something I feel doesn't come up a lot or doesn't get asked. I was curious what other people were doing.
Christina, if you read Bill O'Neill's book, he'll say that if you have, I'm going to guess, I think he says if you have $1 million, you should own like 10 IBD stocks.
But I'm just curious if you have $1 million, I guess Bill O'Neill would suggest that all your money should be invested in an IBD strategy. But I'm just wondering if other people are saying, oh no, I only do 20% and 80%. I'm a buy and hold in the S&P or something. So I was just curious what we're doing.
Sure.
Thank you.
So some people I know that they use their Roth IRA accounts to trade IBD because it's a swing trading strategy. Because of the short-term taxes, they like using the IBD accounts. I'm not very tax efficient, so my buy and hold are in my Roth accounts. My retail accounts are more in the IBD growth stock. Not very tax efficient, but it's what I did 10 years ago. I didn't really think about taxes.
Christina, what percent of your portfolio is IBD stocks?
Not many because I'm invested more in TQQQ.
That's fair. Thanks for sharing that, because if you have really good, strong buy-sell rules that you'll stick to, you'll do better.
Yeah.
Leverage ETFs.
I did want to ask one more question. So, Floyd, I caught wind of this group a few years back when you presented in another group and you were just presenting your TQQ strategy and all of your back testing. It's been a little bit of time since I've been part of the groups. I was just wondering, is that the same strategy that you're currently using? Has it evolved since that interview you gave a few years ago? I think that was the stochastics line that you were using in MarketSmith at the time. Or did anything change?
Christina, I'm really glad that you asked that question. The strategy has evolved substantially to the point that you cannot use market surge, stochastics, to determine your buy and sell decisions, because market surge uses their number. If you do the daily strategy, it's 14 days. If you do the weekly strategy, they're looking at 14 weeks because their period is 14. And with a period of 14, it is very detrimental to the strategy. We learned this through very intensive back testing, thousands and thousands of back tests. And we started off with an Excel spreadsheet that had over 600,000 equations that was developed for me by a guy in Houston. And then Gary Taylor got involved. Gary now has this company called Leveraged Edge, which takes the perfected strategy and he recommends the buy and sell factors and points using TradingView. I would strongly recommend that you look at this leverage ETF website. To answer your question directly, the presentation I made 3 or 4 years ago was a presentation on a strategy that it turns out doesn't work very well because the market surge period of 14 is detrimental. When we use TradingView, our period is more like 5. And so if you're doing a weekly strategy, that's 5 weeks instead of 14 weeks. Hopefully that answers your question. And I would strongly recommend to not use market surge stochastics to determine when to buy and sell TQQQ.
Thank you, Floyd.
So Floyd has the strategy words. You will implement the strategy on Thinkorswim. Has that also changed some of the metrics?
No, when I started using Thinkorswim, we had already determined what the period should be. So if I shared my Thinkorswim settings with anyone by sharing the link, that hasn't changed. The nice thing about TradingView is you can put a secondary indicator like MACD, and that even improves the strategy even more when you're looking at stochastics and MACD. But the Thinkorswim stream that I've shared with people is still valid.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't go to the leveraged edge signing up for it because I had your Thinkorswim stream and I just continue to use that.
Yeah, that should work well for you if you use what Gary Taylor's developed. You could do even better, but if you're using a Thinkorswim stream, you should do just fine. It will get you in when you should be in and get you out. If you follow that, unless the market goes crazy, which it could. But if you're going to follow that, when you get a sell signal, you can't say, I'll wait a couple of days. If you get a sell signal, buddy, you got to sell. You can't dilly-dally around and wait. Think of what happened during the COVID crisis in February and March of 2000. If you waited a couple of days before you got out, your head would have been handed to you. It was going down vertically.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying there? Okay, so now I want you to raise your right hand and make a promise to me right here in front of everybody and say, when I get a sell signal, I'm going to sell.
Absolutely.
Come on, there you go. Raise your hand. Come on.
But as I admit, when the market turned and you had the follow through day, I didn't believe it because with all the news.
Hey, Watson, I'm just teasing you. We all do it. None of us are robots. We all think we can wait or we can go early or whatever. I'm guilty of it too, so I'm just giving you a hard time.
I'm waiting for the next signal to come, which will never come.
You should be fully invested right now, right? Are you fully invested? You should be fully invested, right?
Correct.
There's a day coming when you should be in cash. That could be next week, that could be next month, that could be next year, but a sell signal is definitely coming. I promise you, a sell signal is coming.
Yep. I think it's coming soon also. Oh, so while you're speaking about the 2020, so if you imagine, there was an 11% drawdown, so that was a 33% account drawdown. And then if you wait another day, you have a 24% account drawdown, or 8% account drawdown, sorry. 11% and 8%, these hurt. Then you miss a week, it could have like almost a 20% drawdown.
Yeah, and then see that little tiny rally there? When that rally happens, you go, aha, I'm a smart guy, I stayed in. And then look what happens like 5 days later, man, you're in the toilet again.
God, this day is like 30% one day, another 30% another day. It's like you're getting slapped left and right. And then finally, when you look back at your accounts, probably like one of these bottoming days and finally sell.
Yeah, there's when someone throws a towel at the absolute worst time to sell. Because in the next 3 or 4 months, TQQ went up about 400%, maybe more, maybe 500%.
What is this? Let's say $13 to 22. almost a double, and then you keep on going.
Right over there, see, it went up to 44 or whatever.
Yep.
13 to 44. But if somebody would have just thrown the towel in at the bottom and say, I'll never do that again, they missed one of the biggest V-shaped recoveries in the history of mankind.
Alex is asking, could you share the Thinkorswim indicator?
If someone will send me the email address, I'll send them the link so that they'll have my screen.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm at tqqqinvestor@gmail.com. Send me an email and say you want the Thinkorswim stochastic screen for leveraged ETFs. I got to go on a construction job tomorrow, and I probably won't be able to do it until Saturday or Sunday. But if you send a request, I'll send you the Thinkorswim link. After you get the link, I think you have to wait 24 hours before it's active.
Alex says thanks. Any other questions before we end this meeting, or any last burning stocks you want us to look at?
Hello, Haley. Gilbert. I stay away from Chinese and Hong Kong stock. And I sent the group a chat and look at the
RGC.
RGC, them. They don't open the books, they don't follow the rules, and they can wrap up the price, and then next thing find out is just drop back to when it was. So for right now, I just invest buy any those kind of stocks, especially right now, U.S. market is in bull market. That's a lot better fish here than those areas, especially the political thing. You don't know when president will do something, and bad, and yeah, I will advise stay away from those.
If you look at the earnings per share table, this company has never made a single dollar of profit in its entire history.
Yep.
And also, I asked my brother is in that area, and he said, I used to invest by the LinkedIn, and he said their sell tactics is real dirty. And when he go into the cafe coffee company, LinkedIn, and we just selling the package, and then they consider those as a sell for that day, which is not. So they have so many ways to hide their accounting books. So that's why I say it's not a good place to invest your hard-earned money.
Yes.
Thank you.
I remember Luckin Coffee, and I was like, hey, we're doing better than Starbucks in China. Wait, this is all accounting fraud. I sat at a Luckin store in China saying it's one of the best performance, and you have 5 customers an hour, and that's it.
And you know what store just opened in the United States?
Really?
Luckin Coffee. Yep, just recently.
That's hilarious.
Hey, someone asked the question, if you don't own TQQ, is it okay to buy it now? No, it's the train left the station about 2 months ago, and the train is headed for a switch on the tracks. But you can do whatever you like. If you wanted to buy, maybe they're going to go to 90 or 100. The big profit's already been made. So in my opinion, it'd be better to wait until we get the next buy signal. You can buy whatever you like to buy, but I hope I'm giving a helpful answer.
Yep. And
it looks like it's approaching an all-time high.
yes. So I was approached by another investor. He follows the trend, right? He met someone back in 2021. It's like Nasdaq's always going to all-time highs, right? So he bought it right around $90 in 2021, and he's been holding it to this day. TQQQ is not a buy and hold strategy. It's a trading strategy. Please do not be like that friend. I told him, you're crazy. But I'm like, dude, I've made good money on it. But for him, I haven't made money in 4 years.
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah. The whole theory behind the TQQ, any of the leveraged ETFs, is that it's a short-term instrument. Some people say you shouldn't even hold it more than 1 or 2 days, which I don't prescribe to whatsoever. But you probably won't own it more than a few months. And then you're going to get a time when you need to go to cash. And then you wait for the next signal. The nice thing about going to cash is if you look at December 2021, if you got a sell signal in there, you could have got out easily at about $80 a share, and you didn't have it drop all the way down to about 18 because you went to cash.
Yep. SQQQ is at their all-time lows.
Promise me you still don't hold it, George.
No, I'm not in SQQQ, but I've got eyeballs on it.
Any other questions before
Yes.
break off until next?
Hey, thanks.
Catch everyone later. Look for the
Thank you,
spam
Peter.
emails about the Google groups. And I'll talk to everyone soon. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Haley.
Welcome.